William Shakespeare, 16th century wordsmith, author of 37 known plays. A new movie came out called Anonymous, which questions what scholars have been questioning for over 100 years. Theses have been stated, books have been published. Did Shakespeare, in fact, write his work? As a theater expert, I am here to tell you, in fact, yes, positively he did. But how he wrote them and who the man was is a much different story. There's no doubting that the man could obviously weave an interesting tale, and somehow he was able to complete his masterpieces. However, he was completely fucked up when he did. Completely drunk and high every day of his life, the man was a bum. Can we agree right now that nothing Shakespeare said makes any sense? None of it. Not one word of it makes sense. None of the shit makes sense. We are led to believe that it does. We are told, in fact, in school that it has a deeper meaning, but it does not. These things that he wrote, these scripts, these manuscripts, these ancient fucking puzzles that he wrote. You probably need Professor Langdon from Da Vinci Code to decode these things. They are basically a mix of Yoda's backwards ass speech and a guy leaving the bar at 3 in the morning. Which he was. He was that guy. In fact, his editor, some lackey that he probably had follow around, his editor would follow him around throughout the bars as he was getting hammered, and he'd basically tell him, "Good son, whatever it is I say tonight, whether it makes sense to you or not, I want you to write down. Even if it doesn't make sense, and we'll figure it out in the morning." So that would be the process. So that was the editing process that we didn't know about here. So the next morning, they would basically get together and collaborate and look at the notes from the night before. So he'd be looking at the paper. What did I say last night? Good, Armgarble, yes, Armgarble, we'll use it. Of course, sentences like this, "Thou cometh, shallest art hitherwhither." Students to this day absolutely challenged by these words, Okay, but imagine like the fanboys that we have now that do Trekkie speech like Klingon or the speech of Middle-earth from Lord of the Rings, like Elvish. The original fanboys back at the time loved Shakespeare and they ate that shit up. They loved it. That was the thing back then. Basically, can you imagine playing Scrabble with this guy, with Shakespeare? You could not win playing Scrabble with this guy because he would just make up a word. He would make up a word every time he was stuck. For example, Twaintest. That's not a word. Drickery. Dude, that's not a word. Shazin. That is not a word, man! And sometimes when he had just the shit letters, the bottom of the barrel letters that were just left in the bottom, even if it was just like 4 vowels, he would even attempt to try to win. Ew, wow. Alright, dude, that is not a fucking word. I believe that sound transcends the written word. Serious drinking problem he had, though, for real. Hammered almost every day of his life. Basically, he didn't have writer's block. He wouldn't ever have writer's block because what he would do is he would sit at home with his papyrus scroll spread out in front of him and his quill, okay, and he would pound shot after shot after shot after shot after shot. Excuse me, Mr. Shakespeare, sir, that one was actually your ink pot. I know it was! Smoked a lot of weed, too. Midsummer Night Dream, obviously. And to prove this point, I'll read a line from it here. "Night and silence, who is here? Weeds of Athens he doth wear, and hear the maiden sleeping sound on that dank and dirty ground." Also, too, how do you think the Globe Theater burned down? The end of his career, however, was a real tragedy. Like an actual tragedy. You see, he was a has-been by that point. People didn't care about him. He was all washed up. And as a has-been, he did what any washed-up star would do. He started making sequels to his earlier successes. For example, King Richard II, King Richard III. Even did some stand-up comedy. Didn't fare very well. He also wrote some Christmas cards at that time. Let's see here. I have one that he wrote. "'Tis the season. Where cowards die many times before their deaths, and the valiant never taste the death but once, and all of the wonders that I've yet heard, it seems the most strange that men should fear, seeing the death a necessary end will come when it will come. Not very merry at all. Now, towards the end of his career, when he was a has-been, he had burnt himself out. He had abused the written word. He had gone through a sort of a word saturation. He blew a fuse. He couldn't even speak anymore. He was like an infant. And he, in his later time, recently, a book has surfaced here that I would like to read a passage from. And this is during that time in his career when he was basically couldn't even speak anymore. And this book is untitled. I'm going to read a passage here. Again, keep in mind, he didn't really know what he was saying by this point. Completely burned out. I see you, your crown, gate, shoe. Okay, he's just listing words now at this point. Fence, bent, lent, went. Okay, now he's picking up speed. It looks like he's found a rhyme scheme here. I'm not sure what that word is. That one's command. We have a R. Yeah. And that appears to be the @ symbol. Okay. And the rest of the book pretty much just goes into abstract doodles. He just decided to finish. But basically, though, when he died, the world was given a gift. They were given a gift of his rich prose and his rich words, but they were so dense and so rich that basically the world altogether was so sick of words by that point that they decided, almost together, without even conversing, that they were just going to shut the fuck up for 1 year. Just completely silent, completely sick of words. They were just going to shut the fuck up for 1 year. All right, my name is Brandon Stroud. Thank you.